Okay, you know how video games have patch updates, right? Like if you're like me and you're currently playing Crimson Desert, which holy shit is awesome, but if you're like me, Crimson Desert is getting like patches every other day, right? The Jester 2 feels like a patched version of Jester 1. Every issue that I had with Jester 1, the Jester 1, is completely patched in the Jester 2. Like, we're talking, we have a story, we have characters, we have more creative kills, we have a sense of pacing. But most importantly, did I mention that we have a narrative? So the Jester 2 has gotten rid of the grief element of the first movie. We're no longer dealing with grief. And you know what? Even though that was something that I liked, it was something that was left unexplored. And in here, they realized, one, we're not that smart of a movie, and two, we don't have enough time to experience this. So let's take that away, give him some extra lore, and just make him a fun fucking character. Lean into the shit that made him fun in the first movie, and they certainly did that. The second movie follows a girl named Max who is unpopular amongst her classmates because she likes magic. I don't know where the fuck we suddenly decided that magic is uncool, especially during that time. If I was that age in high school and a pretty girl knew magic, all the boys in school would be trying to get to know her. Like I just feel like you can't make magic unpopular, but for some reason in movies we love to make magic unpopular. So she becomes the unpopular kid. And during Halloween night, which this movie takes place in, she is dressed as a magician, trick or treating, against her mother's rules because she is too old. Max is finding herself trick or treating at night by herself, and she comes across our very own Joker the Jester. And they have like a little kindred spirit moment with each other that I really liked, where they meet at a diner, and in his silent charm does a magic trick for her, and she in exchange does a magic trick for him, and finds out later on that she outjested him because with a sleight of hand she takes his magic cards, and so he spends the night trying to find her. And when he does, the movie turns into somewhat of a buddy slasher, a reluctant buddy slasher movie, shall I add. This movie works, and this feels like it should have been part one. This really does feel like, yesterday's The Jester was the equivalent of Terrifier, and The Jester 2 is the equivalent of Terrifier 2, in that these two films both followed the same level of anecdotal formulation, if you will. I know that was a lot of word. That was a lot of word. But what I'm trying to say is, where Terrifier 1 and the Jester 1 both didn't have stories and were just there for the kills, Part 2 both implemented more narrative and more character. Now, this is in no way saying that it is at the level of Terrifier 2, because Terrifier 2 is just kind of like a fucking lightning inside of a bottle, inside of a rhino's ass. That was such a perfect encapsulation of what a sequel could be to bring it to the masses. It was great, right? But this, I see why it was in theaters, and I actually am a little upset that I didn't see it in theaters. While it's not like the best slasher I've ever seen, they leaned into all the things that I loved from the first movie, and they went away with all the stuff that I hated. So we're no longer dealing with grief. In place, we do have lore. Now, this is one of my cons. I did say yesterday, please don't make him fucking demon from hell. Now, while they didn't make him a demon from hell, they did affiliate him with hell. Because it turns out that he is like the old blues tale of the man who played blues for the devil. This man met a person who, an observer, who told him that if he could trick him, he could keep his soul. And therefore, he tricked and he did this illusion that tricked the devil. And they don't say the devil, but it's alluded to. They refer to him as the observer. So he tricks the devil. The devil doesn't take kindly to that and damns his soul to tricking 4 people every Halloween night until he is satiated with the amount of souls that he receives. And if he tricks these 4 people and then kills them before this candle goes out, the devil will eventually give him back his soul, or pass his curse on to the next person. It's a little vague, but that's more or less what we got going on. But because he got jested, Now, Max, our main character, is now also part of the curse. And that's the setup. We don't really find that out till later, but I thought that was so clever. I was like, this is what we should have gone with from the very first fucking movie. This should have been, we should be expanding on that in this one, but you know what? Fucking nevertheless, I'm gonna pretend one doesn't exist. This is the Jester movie that I was looking forward to. It's shot even better. We don't have a cool intro sequence like the first one, though. That's shame on them. They should have gone harder on that because I really, really fucking love that. But nonetheless, the Jester is so much more charming. He is even more animated, and we get a little bit more of a purview of his powers, how the realm that he sort of dwells in, that he kind of walks in and out of, and how he manipulates the dead bodies to speak through them. So he has a little bit more of a voice in this one. But in our realm, he is the charming, psychopathic, magical clown that we know him to be from the first movie. He is way more charming, a little bit more animated. And there is a sweet moment where before Max realizes that Jester is evil incarnate, they go trick-or-treating together. And half the time I'm like completely nervous knowing what kind of psychopath this entity is, but also like going like, oh, he's like, maybe he is kind of finding this kindred spirit thing, right? Because he sees someone who's an outcast, who does magic, who really loves and speaks about magic in such a passionate fucking nerdy way that I almost felt like they were trying to do this kindred spirit thing. It was kind of sweet for a little while, and then it stopped being sweet because, oh my god, the rest of the movie is pretty much a chase sequence. We go from her running away to eventually deciding like, okay, well, I'm stuck in this, so I guess I have to pick and choose who I'm going to trick tonight and then have him kill. And that entire that middle section is awesome, but then it evolves into her trying to escape, and we have these series of set pieces that lead us from person to person to person. And what I will say about the kills here is that they lean so much harder into the magical elements of the kills from the first film. We have better practical effects. We do have a lot of shooting the gore from the back, so we just see the spray of blood but not necessarily the gore itself, although there are a couple really good gory moments. You can tell that that's probably where they were trying to reconsider the budget a little bit. But what they do in place of that is do some really, really creative, magic focused kills. Once again, there's a standout sequence with some cops here. I just feel like they were like, hey, that was our standout sequence there. It's probably the sequence we got to up in this movie, and they tried. And I think for the most part, they succeeded. So there were some really cool chases as well involving a firehouse that I really enjoyed. And the ending, holy fuck, they thought of one. They actually thought of an ending. That was bravo. Thank you. Giving me a third act was crazy notion to think about, but they gave me a third act in this movie, and I love them for it. It was a good third act. It was a very complete third act. There is a moment where they use an animatronic, and it is very obvious. It almost feels like they went to Spirit Halloween and they grabbed like one of those skeletons that moves on the ground and they dressed it up as the Jester. That's almost what it feels like. I'm not saying that's what they did, but I'm pretty sure. The movie really leans hard into what it does well, which is keeping him and Max focused in the focus, expanding on this lore a little bit and the unpredictable nature of, well, now they're both kind of working together and she's reluctant. You never really knew how it was going to turn out for most of the movie, which I could appreciate. Like, this was such a tight, compact movie experience. It has its cons, but again, coming from part one, my expectations were just give me more kills and make them fun, and they did a lot more than that. The dialogue is kind of stilted, the acting is a little stoic, and not a lot of people deliver their lines convincingly, but for the most part, Max was good. The girl who plays Max, she was really fun, and the killer, the Jester, was just fucking, I mean, that's what you're here for, and on that front, 10 out of 10, it doesn't disappoint. Jester is so fucking fun, and I think the way they left this, because they did leave it open-ended for a potential sequel, I think that there's a lot of places they can take this to, and I hope that maybe with a little bit more budget than this one, we might absolutely have a solid, very fun, and hopefully slightly longer third movie. Not even crazy long, just like an extra 15 minutes to really feel like we're building up to something, because both of these films feel like spin-off Goosebumps or Trick or Treat anthology moments. But nonetheless, I kind of enjoyed this. Unapologetically, I kind of enjoyed, and I can't even say it's a guilty pleasure because it's made competently well. The story is way better than the first. It's not grand, but I really liked that. I liked Max, and I liked Max, and I liked that there was a goal. There was a clear fucking focused goal. I liked that the kills were front and center. I liked that the creativity of the magic was front and center. I just really enjoyed this movie. To my surprise, I would have liked to have seen it in theaters just to be in the ambiance of a dark theater and some cool speakers. Again, quite a few issues, but Shudder right now is where you can see it, and it's exactly where it belongs. If you have like a person that loves movies like this, that likes low budget slashers in the cult classic vein, this is a fun movie to sit back, relax, and be like, oh, that was funny. But be warned, the acting in some parts is like fucking hard to kind of stomach. Not that I could do any better, I'm sure, but that being said, there are moments where the dialogue isn't. But the point is, the Jester and Max are the antagonist and protagonist, and they're very believable and they're very fun to watch. I think Max is a awesome final girl, and I love that they made her a the fuck nerdy kid with a love for something that is very niche in the eyes of apparently fucking everyone. Because again, we keep making magic uncool in movies, and I think it's fucking awesome. I would say I definitely recommend this movie if you're in for a Sunday watch at home under the covers and you want something a little different and fun with some really cool world building. I think this is like a not knockoff, but this is a where like Terrifier 2 is here is probably a lower brand Terrifier, but with a very distinct killer that does at this point definitely does his own thing. I can see a lot more movies with him now. Definitely. Like this movie fixed every issue I had. And this is what I wanted from a concept like this. Just fun kills, a cohesive story, and more fun killing shit. So fucking if this appeals to you, skip one, jump straight into two. You don't even need, we don't even, you remember how I said in the first one we had the story thread that we just kind of left open, and we don't even fucking touch it. This is how hard of a patchwork film this was. We don't even touch the first story of the characters, but thankfully we replace them with more entertaining with a more entertaining avatar. So that's all I have to say of this one. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I will see you at the movies.